She clinked her glass before I could, her voice smooth like honey, but there was venom lurking beneath the sweetness. "Surprise," she said, her eyes glinting. "We're having a baby." The room fell into a frozen hush. Silverware stopped midair. My mother's eyes went wide, my father cleared his throat into his napkin, and my brother, my own flesh and blood, grinned like he'd just won something. Maybe he thought he had. It was my birthday after all, and she'd orchestrated it all perfectly, or so she thought. Claire stood beside Logan, her hand resting on her stomach as if it were a prize. My stomach tightened, but not from shock. That had worn off weeks ago. No, now there was only precision and eerie calm. I raised my glass, my hand steady, unshaken. "A toast," I said, my voice cutting through the stunned silence like a knife. "To revelations." Claire blinked, her lips parting just slightly, and Logan shifted uncomfortably in his seat. That was my cue. "I got you something too, Claire," I said, pulling a folded piece of paper from my jacket pocket and holding it up. "You remember that fertility test you took last month? The one you thought I scheduled to check my numbers?" I watched her pupils widen, her lips tightening. I unfolded the paper slowly, savoring the moment. "Turns out you're infertile, Claire. Completely. Uterine scarring. No baby. Not now. Not ever." The room gasped. A fork hit the plate with a clatter. My mother's hand flew to her mouth. Logan's smile faded in an instant. Claire was silent, utterly still, her face drained of color. I let the silence stretch. 2 years ago, I never would have imagined this. Back then, Claire was my laughter in the sunlight, the smell of coffee in bed, the dreamer who made me believe in us. She'd helped me rebuild after I lost my job, made me think we had something worth fighting for. And Logan, my brother, always the golden boy, rich, charming, dad's favorite. He flashed that perfect smile, and doors opened for him. We weren't close, but we were blood. I trusted that line. I was the quiet one, the listener. I didn't need the spotlight. I just wanted peace. Then things started to change. Claire's phone started living face down. Her laughter turned brittle. She began to wear perfume when running errands. At first, I chalked it up to stress. We'd been trying for a baby, each month bringing another failure. She cried in the bathroom. I held her and promised we'd try again. But one night, she left her iPad unlocked. It was a message from Logan. Asterisk, "Last night was incredible. He doesn't suspect a thing." Asterisk. I stared at it for a long time. Something inside me unraveling slowly, quietly, like the pull of a thread. There was no rage, no shouting. Just stillness. I closed the screen, slipped into bed beside her, and stared at the ceiling. The next morning, I called my doctor and arranged for a fertility test for both of us. Told Claire it was just routine. She didn't question it. Distracted, she just agreed. While she waited for results she didn't care about, I went to work. I had a lawyer friend draft a post-nup agreement, slipped it in with some refinancing documents, and told her she needed to sign for the mortgage. She didn't read a word, just flipped through the papers, pen in hand, multitasking her way into her own undoing. The clause was simple. Infidelity voided all claims to joint property. Then I hired a private investigator. They say you shouldn't dig for the truth if you can't stomach the rot. But I dug anyway. Photos, hotel receipts, weekend spa trips, all charged to Logan's credit card. I cataloged everything. There was one moment, just one, where I stood in front of the mirror and asked myself if I was really going to do this. But the reflection looking back at me wasn't mine anymore. It was colder, calmer, ready. The dinner was her idea. "Let's do something big for your birthday," she'd suggested. "Invite your family." Of course, the stage, the audience, perfect for a public spectacle. She thought the pregnancy announcement would shatter me. She thought I would cry, maybe leave, maybe drink myself into oblivion. Instead, I raised my glass, and I watched them break. Logan stood up, his face turning red. "You can't." I cut him off. "It means everything, Logan. You lied. She lied. You both played a game and thought I wasn't watching." He stepped forward, his voice rising in defense. "We didn't plan." I smiled, cold and calculated. "You're right. She didn't plan well." Because the moment Claire signed that post-nup, she gave up any claim to the house, the bank accounts, the car, all of it. Claire finally found her voice. "No," she whispered. I slid the paper back into my pocket. I let you show me who you were. I just listened. I turned to my parents, whose faces were a mix of horror and reluctant admiration. She wanted to humiliate me, break me in front of all of them. But instead I said, I think it's time she leaves. Claire's eyes filled with tears. I have nowhere to go. I shrugged. You had somewhere to go when you cheated. That night they left Claire and Logan. I heard they stayed in a hotel, though not the fancy kind. I changed the locks the next morning, sold the car she loved, froze the account she thought I'd never touch. People ask me why I'm so calm, why I'm not angry. But vengeance isn't about fury. It's about clarity, patience, letting the knife sink in slow. She expected me to collapse. Instead, I delivered silence. She brought betrayal. I returned the truth. And the best part? Every year on my birthday, I raise a glass and smile, remembering the night I gave up a liar and gained my peace. Because nothing tastes sweeter than a toast served cold.